and really to get our mind ready for the new year, 2024. Um, and part of this process is to know yourself. And by in pursuing that effort, we are uh, decoding the different personality types. The Maxwell DISC assessment method is what we have been talking about. And we went through the dominant personality, the influencer personality, and today it's the S personality, which stands for stay. Now, Coach Genevieve, would you mind telling the audience what does the S personality means? What does S stand for? What does it mean?
S is the third personality trait of the DISC acronym. So it stands for steady. So these are the people who are placed in the reserved people and people oriented.
Okay. So they're team oriented, they follow through, they're loyal. And what does it mean by acceptance? They're looking for acceptance. That's the kind of personality that they have.
Yeah, they are looking for acceptance. This is one of their personality traits. They are team oriented because generally, if you know someone who likes to be with people, who like to gather people and do things together, you know, they are people you can rely on, you can trust, who are always present and in the team.
Okay.
Generally, yeah, they are the kind of people in the family who likes to stay at home and cook a good meal and have all the family gather around. They like to have their kind of cocoon environment. Those
Okay.
are, yeah, the S personality. So they are
But
serious too. They are, and very event paced. They are not like the D or the I personality who are very fast paced. So,
so just to give the audience some context, why is it important for us, from your perspective, just reinforce or reiterate the importance of knowing your personality type and what advantages or benefit will that give you in your journey through this life, whether you're pursuing a career, family, a strong family environment, or a healthy family environment, or friendships, any kind of relationships. Why is it
mhm,
important to really know your personality type? Why is it a compelling thing to
yeah.
know?
I think that we all know that communication, interaction, have a very important place in our relationship. And when we know how to talk with people, and as it is one of the most important part of our interaction and relationship, it is also one of the part that most of the time, create the most disagreement or distortions and things like that, because um, just like the slide of the four animals that we started during the two other presentation, knowing the people who you are talking helps you adjust your communication,
Mm-hmm.
helps you um, talk in a way that will remove all kind of maybe all kind of distortion, or doing things that will go in a opposite way of what you were expecting from the person. you know.
Okay.
So this is how it is important to know your personality and to know others. So when you start discovering your personality, you see that some things resonate most with you and some other don't.
Mm-hmm.
You understand yourself and you say, okay, so I am, let's say, a C personality. I am a high C personality. This is why I don't like people who are too much expeditive in their presentation. I need to have Um, I need to have the good sequence of things. I need to have a very analytic presentation because I need to cover all the point, all the details, and be sure that I don't miss anything. Okay.
Okay.
So when I discovered that this was my personality, in the same times, I discovered that some other people are wired differently. So it leads me to learn how other people react to this same thing. So instead of being boring or instead of, bringing blocks into my communication with others as a seller or as a marketer or a coach, I learn how to decode the personality of people who are in front of me or even in my family and to see how I can adjust my relationship with them, my communication to have the best result of my interaction in my family and in my job.
So you're basically living from a place of awareness, and you have an advantage. You're on the offensive as opposed to, because I know sometimes when I'm confronted with certain personalities, I'm really put off. I don't even know why. I'm just like, oh, it sounds bad, but it's true. But
Yeah.
now that I'm getting more and more educated about the different personality types, I
Mhm.
have an edge because I'm educated. Okay, this person and I, our personalities are different. Not only is it different, their personality rubbed me the wrong way, but I can know why it's rubbing me the wrong way, as opposed to just being reactive. I can
Mhm.
be responsive instead.
Yeah.
I kind of own, takes charge of my responses and my behavior and
Mm.
my the way I perceive things, because I have this extra knowledge. Oh,
Yeah.
this person is an S, and
Mm.
what one of the traits that
Yeah.
I probably don't like about them, they probably too
They are low
they
PC.
hate confrontation, for example. That's one of
Yeah.
their traits, right? That the S personality hates confrontation. I don't
Mhm.
particularly hate confrontation. It's not something I go seeking after, but if I need to
Mhm.
confront, I do. I don't have a I confront all the time, not
Mhm.
in an antagonistic way, but unlike
Mhm.
the S, they hate it. I don't hate confrontation. I think it's important to have confrontations, or maybe you want to call it carefrontations. By the way, let's
Yes.
welcome Patricia and Shanella to the audience. Please ask your questions. Anything to do with your curiosity regarding personality types. This is the time to have those questions ready for us to address. Um, so yeah, that's the advantage I'm seeing for myself, that sometimes I meet people and you just, uh,
Yeah. You use a very good word describing how you behave after being more aware of your personality. You said, I become more responsive because that is the purpose of knowing yourself with, and this is how this can help you. It helps you become more positively responsive instead of being reactive. Most of the time we react when people are different from us. So one the other important things is to know that there is not a bad personality. They are different personality. Because as you said, the S personality has as one fear a confrontation. It doesn't mean that they don't like confrontation. It means that they will avoid it because it is not their basic personality trait, right?
right.
But as the S can be very high or just in the midline or very low, this trait can change. This trait can change. So
Your personality trait can change, is all you said?
yeah, it can change. That this is what makes us unique,
Huh.
you know? Yeah,
What would cause it to
there
change?
because the degree where when you see your personality report, you see that your trait are plotted in a graph, right? And
Uh-huh.
in this graph, you will see that if your personality is an SD, for example, that means that your S trait in your personality assessment is in on the midline or above the midline, right? I am a CID personality. So that if why the C came first, it is because in my three graph, the C point is plotted above the midline and just after the I and the D.
Do you have a visual of that to show us what that looks like on the graph?
Um,
Is it going to be too much to pull up? If it's going to be too much to pull up, it's okay. Because I think it helps, people to see what you mean by above the midline, below the midline. It sounds a little technical. And I think it's just really helpful if we can see visually. We can
yes,
visualize what
I
you're saying.
can. Let's share my. I will share the the um, the personality report.
So even this whole conversation about, the knowing your knowing your personality type so that you're not reactive, but you're instead responsive. I'm learning that a lot of times there's a difference between our circle of influence versus
Mhm,
our circle of concern. And a lot of times we get caught up in our circle of concern, feeling like you know, we need to control everything and control people and the way they behave. But
mhm,
instead, when we are aware, we
mhm,
open up ourselves and we become more expansive and we become more influential and we
mhm.
operate from the center of our influence so that we don't limit ourselves and we don't lash out or react.
Yeah,
Instead, we operate from this circle of influence where we can be more, we touch more lives and we make a greater positive impact. And that's the benefit of, I think, one of the benefits of being educated in this space of the personality types. I'm
yeah,
really learning quite a bit about the difference between the two points of being consumed by your circle of concern versus your circle of influence. Education does make a difference. Awareness makes a difference. And this is one of
yes.
those opportunities to do so. Were you able to pull it up, Genevieve?
Yeah, it's important to know because I used to understand things like you have to treat people like you want to be treated,
Mm-hmm.
right? But because of the what I when I've been educated with the Maxwell Disc report, I understand that I should not treat people as I want to be treated. I should treat people as they want or they need to be treated because we are different. And
Right.
maybe someone who react who needs to have a lot of details before engaging myself in a project, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But if I talk with a high wired deep personality, if I try to give to this person too many details, I will lose him or I will lose her.
That's me. You'll definitely lose me. I don't want to hear all
Basically,
that stuff.
you know madam, what I mean? Basically, so while you will be thinking that, okay, I'm someone who needs to have the whole picture before I start something, you may be in front of someone who just want the result. Just talk about what will be the result. So when
That's
you
me.
observe people how they behave, you can you can pick some important um, behavior, and imagine that, okay, this person seems to be very directive,
Uh-huh.
ask a lot of questions and want a short answer. You may say, okay, so this is probably someone who is dewired. So when I will talk with this person, instead of asking him, for example, okay, so Mr. Uh, D, for example, what do you feel when I say, if you use this, it will sound weak, useless, and it will not sound positive for this person. But if I know that this person seems to be wired a high D, I will ask, what do you think about that? Because they are thinker. They are more result task oriented. But if I talk with a S personality, I will ask, what do you feel about this? Because they are people who care about feelings because they are people oriented. They are people, they are reserved and people oriented. So they care about people, they care about feelings. So when you ask them a question, asking about what do they feel, you will catch more their attention. You will attract their interest more than if you ask them, what do you think? Because when you ask, for example, a C or an I personality, what do you think? They feel like they are not taking in account, their person is not taken in account. And this can hurt their feeling. This can threat their security feelings. Yeah. And this is important to know.
Yeah, I
So
think Jay, by the way, I think Mary Beth wants to be added as a panelist, so because her picture is not coming up, she says. Welcome, Mary Beth and Patricia and Shanella again. If you have questions, by the way, guys, have you wondered what your personality type is? Anybody? Shanella, Patricia, Mary Beth? The different personalities are the D, the dominant, which we covered a few weeks ago. Let's go through them really quickly so we can give them a little review of what the different personality types are so they can see if they identify themselves with these descriptions. We have the D, we have the I, and we have the S. Now, Genevieve, why don't you just do like one or two sentences for each of the personality types so that people can detect or discern which one they are.
so we can just make a kind of summary.
Okay.
With the slide we saw the last time. So we have the D, which is the first letter of the acronym of DISC, which stands for decisive, seek control, direct people, and very result driven. So the D stands for dominant.
Okay, so who here thinks they're dominant? They seek control, they're decisive, direct, and they want results. Don't give me any details. They just know that they are like this woman right here. Anybody here thinks that they're like that? Mary Beth, are you like that? We still don't see you, Mary Beth. You're on here, but we still don't see you.
So
Genevieve?
Yes, what we can understand with the deep personality, when we talk about seeking control, maybe people can see it in a negative way. It is not a negative. It is not a negative thing. Let's see that deep personality as the kind of people that when they come somewhere, they just want to see what they have to do. They want things to be, they want things get done. So they are not people who comes and to wait and see.
They want to wait and talk. They want to get it done.
Yes, get it. Yes, they want to get it done, and there are people who will very quick in an emergency. They will take a decision where everybody will be maybe crying or shouting or waiting. They will make a decision to do something. There are people who will always try to do something. And when we talk about seeking control, they are driven by authority. This is very important.
Okay, let's move on to the next personality, the I.
Yeah. So the I personality are the joker. Okay, they are the spontaneous and very friendly. They are the people who will always come in the room and start by a joke. You see, there are people who comes in the room and ask for everyone, what's your name? I think that I ever meet you somewhere. They will, wherever they are, they immediately create a friendly atmosphere. They are the spotlight, as we see it in the picture. With the yellow. They are not shy.
So who thinks they're I? Who in the audience thinks they're an I personality? Persuasive, spontaneous, friendly, and love the spotlight. Life
Yeah,
of the party. I'm here.
I'm a I.
You're
I
I.
have, yeah, I have a high I trait.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I knew that. Okay.
Yeah, I am a CID.
You're three. You have three personalities. Well, you sound like you have a disorder.
No, I'm a chancellor.
You're
So what
compliant,
is it?
you're influencer, and you're dominant. Okay, so which one is the highest one that you have?
The C, because it started by CID.
Okay,
So
so
this,
it's
yeah,
possible, audience, that you can have multiple personality traits. No, I'm not calling you Sybil. Basically, we can have multiple personality traits, but you have one that's more dominant than the other. That's basically what you're saying.
exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. We can say that everybody has, the four
the four
personality
traits.
trait, but in different level. So the
Mm,
one, the trait who are plotted in the midline or above the midline in the graph shows your personality when you are alone. It shows what you think people think about you and what you think that you should behave in front of people, you know. So you have the
okay, and
masculine, yeah,
so today is the S personality, and let's go back because that's the focus for today. We just want to give you a recap of what we've done so
exact,
far.
yeah.
And the
So
S is the team oriented, the follow through, and the loyalty and the acceptance. What does the S personality think when they're alone? What do they think about their private self?
um I think that there are people who like loyalty. So they are very, if I can say it, in their friendship, there are people maybe who will sometimes experience a lot of disappointment, deception, because they are loyal and think that everybody are like that. They like to be with other people. They like to be team. And let's say that in a professional world, they may be people who will not seems to give the best of themselves. Why? Because they are always waiting for others to come with them.
Mm,
They will feel like, oh, if I go ahead, my son should be a high S because he once told me, I don't like the sports where I am with many other people. I like the sport where I am alone. I said, why? He said, because I was playing soccer with my friend and we score for four and the other one doesn't score anything. So I was a little bit embarrassed to score again. I said, what? That's
wow.
the purpose of the game. You should not think about the others are the opponent, but there are people like this. They are
So he's
very
loyal.
exactly. They are loyal and they are very people oriented. They are the people who are in the group who will always see how everybody is doing. That's why they are called, they are team oriented. If you have a S in your company, you have a good team member. They care
Mm.
about everyone, you know.
What do you think? What do you think? Mike, who's on our team, is a S personality?
Mike,
Yes.
uh, yeah, maybe. I don't, I don't know Mike.
He's very concerned about each of the team members and how they're doing, and he set up these programs to help everybody to be more efficient and more effective. He's very much a team player. So I just wondered that.
Ah,
That just came to me. I think we should have a session where each of the members of my team
mm-hmm.
get their personality assessed.
Oh
I'd love to
yeah.
know what Shanella's team personality type is.
Yeah, that's very important. And
Very educational.
yeah. And
And
they
with us
are they
going into the new year, if we're gonna avoid the growth gaps and avoid being in ruts,
mhm.
then
Yeah,
we have to get to know us ourselves so we can grow.
yeah. I had a client, she is a very high achiever, employee, but
Mhm.
because of her high S personality, her teammates thought that she was not, she she couldn't hit the promotion uh she was targeting.
Because of her IS personality?
because of her very high S personality. And
What
the
was the
thing is
problem?
that
She's too concerned about what other people think, or too what was the problem?
the problem is that she had a very low I personality. And her personality fits to her career, let's say, because as a financial advisor, you may say, okay, she's not in contact with people and all the stuff. She's in her room, in her office. And but as she was targeting a promotion of a leadership position, she find that she always failed, and she always have some issues with her team because of her communication, you know.
Mm.
And whenever she was confronted to a bad situation, she was like, okay, I will do as you say. Because and she start feeling very bad, and this is why she start seeking for help and come uh, in my
That's why she
coaching
started getting
program.
coaching. So
Yeah.
it sounds to me like she has an issue with it being assertive.
Yes, because this is one of their personality trait. They are acceptance seeker most of the times because of their team member
The people
personality.
pleasers. Is that what you
Yeah,
mean by acceptance
exactly.
seekers?
They want to please to everyone. They don't want they don't like confrontation because they
Ah,
feel like they take confrontation like a threat, and a rejection.
so it's
So
good for the audience to know that if you identify yourself as an S personality, what are the blind spots that could derail your growth and your ascension in your career? Because if you're so people you are suffering from people pleasing, and you're so concerned with what everybody else thinks, then I could see why that would hold you back if you're trying to grow
yeah,
in your career or whatever else you're trying to pursue, because that is an issue. And that's
yeah,
when you see the need to get coaching. And that's why, it's so important to have a mindset that you're going to be coachable and teachable, because you may have this advantage that's plaguing your entire life, and you don't even realize that it's what's causing you to
mm-hmm,
not get to the level in your career or in your
yeah,
relationships or in your marriage or whatever.
yep,
It's causing you to fly at very low altitudes because you haven't taken the time to
mm-hmm,
invest in the next best version of you by becoming aware, instead of just saying, this is the way I am. A lot of people say, oh, this is just the way I
exactly. This
am.
is the way
But is
yeah,
it working for you? If it's
mm,
working for you, then okay, keep it. But if
yeah,
not, you want to deliberately seek out an alternative to being pigeonholed into making a certain amount each year when you could do much better, when you could ascend into a completely different level or dimension in your personal development.
yeah,
But if you accept, I think a
mm-hmm,
lot of times people just accept the
mm-hmm,
comfort zone,
yeah,
which is always the wrong zone, I've learned, then 2024, you'll stay in the rut. But not you,
mm-hmm,
right? Not you who's listening, because you're different.
sure,
You have
I'm
come
sure.
in contact with the eSpeaks platform, which means that you're going to make a
Yeah,
deliberate and decisive effort to grow. That's what we're
yep,
talking about, these
I'm
communication
sure.
and personality types.
I'm sure that
Communicating with an S. What is it
I'm
that you need to do? You need to create a friendly tone for the discussion.
mm-hmm.
Don't sound like you're about to fight.
Don't be too direct that don't be too directive with them because
I
you
don't think an S would like me too much.
um well they feel intimidated by the D, and they
Well,
feel pushed.
I'm not a high ID. I'm just a I'm SD, right?
Yes, you're an SD, but in the midline. So that means that it is one of your main traits. Okay. I am a very low S in my personality.
You're low S.
I'm a very low S. That means that uh, you know, I may not be a good listener because I want quickly to go. and,
You're not looking for
and
acceptance from other people. You're not, you're
oh
very assertive.
yes, oh no, I'm not at all afraid to be alone. I'm not afraid of that. If I believe that this is what is good for me, I'm okay to be alone. And there is something very important that we have to notice is that the S-wired people are 69% of the population.
The S personality type is 69% of the population.
Yeah.
Is that a
So
good thing?
yes, it is a good thing to know in the overall to have, a broad uh information of, for example, your company or your family. That's mean that you have more chance to meet an S personality than a D. So imagine that you have someone who is wired high D or high C, because the D and the C are the most uh, rare personality trait.
The most
Imagine
what?
if,
Raw?
yes, the most scarce,
Scarce. Oh, rare.
yes,
Rare.
the most rare personality trait. So imagine you have someone uh, who is very uh, uh, who is a high D or a high C in your team. If you're not educated in this, you may think like they are special. You may take them for some special animals, because and the C the people you find in. So when if you are a high C or a high D, you will understand that not many people are like you.
Chanela wants to know if that 69% is the America's population or the world's population.
Yeah,
The
the world's
69% that
population.
has the world's population has the S personality, 69%.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's mean that when you are in a population, you may find more S than a D, for example, than
Yeah, I don't
a
think the
C.
S would like me too much because if you're a strong S, even though I'm an S too, but I don't have an issue being assertive or I
Yeah,
don't feel the need
because
to please people.
that's why it is interesting to know that this could offer you um, the the awareness of your personality style. So a
Mhm.
style is a combination of different traits at different level. So
Okay.
in your case, for example, you are a SD, and the combination of your S and your D is unique.
Mm.
This means that you are not a low. Me, for example, I am a high C, and just after I have a D and a I and a D trait, that's mean that I can be very friendly, but I can be very directive too, decisive too. You know, I can I can work in a pace and come and in a place and become very friendly with people, but I will get the things done too. So
Right.
you may feel like I'm crazy. Yeah, it's a good way to describe me too, because this is people are not used to see this kind of personality. Like when you are very open and friendly, people will think, okay, I can do whatever I want, and we're friends. And you may be surprised if I come with my D personality, and
Mm.
this is
So the
why the
environment can influence how you behave in a certain time. Your person makes different
yes,
parts of your personality come out, right?
Very important. For example, the S personality that we're seeing today are people who are very sensitive to their environment, very sensitive. They
Mm,
give their best in a peaceful environment. When they are in an agreeable and easygoing environment, you can get the most of them.
right.
But if they
Okay.
are in an environment very high paced, let's say that you have a, a team a team member. You are, for example, a seller, and there's phone calls. You have to be very pushy. You have to be easygoing. You have to be very bold.
Stress.
And, yeah, and you see someone who is very good when it comes to talk to one on one, or maybe to turn an angry client. But this person will not give her best when it will be to go and get a new client.
Mm,
That it doesn't mean that she's not a good seller. It just means that she has another style of selling. She may be a good um, mm, professional or administrative seller. Like she can sell to clients she will need in a very calm place, and discuss for 1 hour before booking something. While an I personality can go in the market, in the street, and take and get people from there.
wow.
You see how they are different. They are
Different
different
approach.
different approach. One are more will give her best in a peaceful and agreeable, easygoing environment, just like in an office, and talking to a director, and trying to understand their needs and sell them something. While you will have a D and a I personality who can sell to someone in the office, but who can also go in the market and get people from nowhere and make them sign something.
That's literally what I used to do. I would just go and meet people.
Yeah.
That's my deep personality. Okay, so when you're communicating with an S, you must have a friendly tone. You must show interest in them as a person, make them feel special. Don't
Mm-hmm.
let them feel like just one of the many,
Yeah.
or they'll probably think you don't
Ask
like
them
them,
about,
or that you
yeah,
don't think much of them.
yeah.
Don't be
Ask them
overly aggressive.
exact.
Yeah, they wouldn't like me too much. I'm too aggressive. Minimize the potential for confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
These are all the things that S personalities don't like. Give attention
Mm-hmm.
to the goal and everyone's role. That's another
Mm-hmm.
thing to know about an S personality. And
Mm-hmm.
S stands for steady, right? They're steady people.
Yeah,
Yes.
exact.
Um,
Steady.
give them time to adjust to any changes. Don't spring things on top of them like this. They don't
Mm-hmm.
like sudden movements. They like slow and steady. Like they're
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as and this is important to know because whether it's at work or with your significant other or with your children,
Your
knowing
children, yeah.
this stuff really could prevent a lot of breakdown in your
Mm-hmm.
relationships.
Yeah.
I was listening to something recently. It talks about how relationships are so there's a lot of debris from broken relationships all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Carnage of broken relationships. And it sounds like talking about this stuff doesn't sound so exciting, but then the results of the broken relationship in our communities, in our families, is really heartbreaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much destruction from relationships that are not working,
Mm-hmm.
and the impact it shows up in the jails, it shows up in the mental institutions, it shows up even in the hospitals. The physical, the stress of it all. The body keeps the score, as the book suggests. All of this comes from bad communication. Communication is probably one of the most important. Actually, I think it's the most important skill to have because you have to communicate every single day,
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Yep. It's the most
So
important.
the fact that we're talking about personality type is because we want to impress upon you the importance of having better communication by knowing the personality types. Does anyone have any questions? By the way, Mary Beth, do you know what your personality type is?
Well, I had thought of the D because
You're a D?
well, because of my job when I was working, I had to make decisions. I had to be decisive. I had to have the knowledge to make those decisions correctly. Sometimes, I wouldn't say spur the moment, but, in a short period of time. So when I looked at all these things, I thought I was a D. But I didn't think I was so puritanical about it or heavy-handed. So that when you look at all these others, they, you have a portion of them as well as the one attribute. So I think that people are combinations of the D, the S, and the I. They may be more lean toward one end, but I think we all have, a little bit of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. But you would say that you're predominantly a D?
Well, because I thought that as I was looking at what the D said, that, I was able to make decisions and
direct.
Be direct. The D is lost here. So, yeah, it was direct. I didn't mince words. People knew where I stood, what I was talking about, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and look at that.
These here things I think are more appropriate to people in business rather than people in education, because basically in education, you're giving out knowledge or you're leading people to in learning things. But when you're in business, you have to have more of these kind of activities in your repertoire.
But do you think, Genevieve, that it's limited to whether or not you're in business, or is it across the board that your personality types impacts your relationships? Or
no, I don't think that it is, because I don't think that it is determined by where you are. But I think that, I truly believe that what you are doing does not uh, define you, but you define what you're doing, because you do things in your own style. And if you say that you think that you are a D, you may have a predominant D trait. It may be true, because that things resonate to you. That's mean that you feel that, yeah, this is. And if you have been placed in a position during your career where you had to make decision, it is because, and you have done it until you come to retirement, and you were a good employee. It is because you were the right personality at the right place in the right task. Because what we have to understand is that being a D personality is just someone who can make decisions. There are people who are not afraid to be. They are the true leaders. Actually, we need D personality wherever we are. If not, let's see, for example, in the Bible, Pontius Pilate. He's not a D. And he should have a little bit of D in his personality, because he was in a leadership position. But
you don't think Pontius Pilate was a D? I mean, he was a D with a little bit of S.
Oh no, he was not at all a D. He was a very low D, below, yes, very under the midline. He was a very low D, because his problem was to make a decision, even though the truth was here. A D personality is someone who's not afraid to say, no, we won't do that, even if everybody say, yeah, I think we have to do it. Mm-hmm. They have authority, but it doesn't mean that they cannot adjust, to people. There are people who can embrace changes if they have to get people to one result. They can
But he
work
had
on.
it so bad that he allowed Jesus to be crucified because he was so low.
Oh, it was very low. But this is what we have to understand. I have a very low S, so I'm working on my S personality.
But then Pontius Pilate didn't want to make the decision to kill Jesus, so he gave him to the
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah.
You know,
Even though he didn't make this decision, because before he made these decisions, his wife come and told him, "Don't touch one hair of this man. He is a
right?
holy one."
Extreme.
Yeah.
So he
So
washed his hands.
yeah, but he was afraid of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he was in a position of power, he was afraid of the crowd because he wanted to be loved, to be, he doesn't want to be in trouble or to be confront to the Jewish group. So he just leave the situation like this and live. But
So you think he
he
was an
was,
S?
oh yeah, he may be, if I can say it, yes, a kind of, he had a S. He is not just nobody is just one trait. He may have a S, in his personality. He probably have a S, and but let's make a precision, which is very important. DISC is the analysis of the normal behavior.
This is an analysis of the normal behavior.
Yeah,
The DISC assessment test is an analysis of the normal behavior.
yeah.
So what are you
So,
saying? Pilate wasn't having normal behavior?
oh no, he may. No, I just say that he had a C because of this behavior. He probably have a C trait in his personality. But we have to understand something. Not all the people who react like this may be a C. This is why, because DISC analysis, DISC report is the analysis of normal behavior. That means that someone can be in a trauma situation where their behavior won't reflect their true personality.
Maybe he was traumatized that day.
Yes, or maybe he was highly disturbed because of what his wife told him. And he was impressed by the person of Jesus.
Maybe. All those are speculations. The point is that he was a people pleaser. He made Jesus
Yeah.
get killed.
Yeah.
If anybody was traumatized, it was Jesus. All right? Okay? Because he had people spitting on him, beating him, stripping his clothes off, putting thorns on his head, piercing him in the side. Oh my
Yeah.
God, cursing him out. He was traumatized. Okay? So no, I'm not gonna let Pilate off the hook. He was a people pleaser.
No, Pilate, not today.
Not
Okay.
today. Not today, Pilate. Sorry. What about Peter? What personality type do you think Peter had?
Well, I will say that Peter may also have Peter may be, may have a sure S trait.
Think Peter
Because
was also S straight? Why? Why do you say that?
when I read the book of Acts, I
Mhm.
see how he was someone who likes to be, in peace with all the groups. He even have, an issue with Paul because of that, because Paul was certainly a high D.
Yeah, Paul was he was high D.
Yeah,
He was way up there in a
yeah,
D.
he was probably, he was for sure a high D, and also maybe a high I, because he got a very good, contact with people. He knows how
Influencing
to
people.
introduce. Yeah, he was very influential. But he has a high D. He was not afraid to stand alone and to say what he was thinking. You must be a high D to leave this change in his calling.
Yeah, Paul was undoubtedly a high D.
Yeah,
But
sure.
Peter, I'm not so sure that he was an S. But
Well,
you're thinking he
Peter
was an S because from what I see,
Peter was someone who wanted to be. in peace with everyone. He has been highly disturbed when the trouble comes, when he had to be confronted to take his responsibility. He fled, not because he didn't like Jesus, he didn't love him, but he was afraid,
Mhm.
because when Jesus was taken, he lose his security.
Mm.
You see?
And the S personality loves security. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The greatest fear is to lose their security or to be confronted. So they don't like, if you are a very pushy person and you see that in your family you have someone who always tend to give it up with you, it may be someone who is an S wired. The S
Mm.
wired are not fighter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who had the I personality in Jesus's circle?
Uh,
I think Jesus himself.
oh, sure. Jesus
He
has
must have been
the thought.
a D and an I, dominant and influencing.
Well, I will not plot Jesus anywhere. I
Try to
went there.
diagnose Jesus. That's
You
funny.
know, he is the perfect personality, and we have to be plotted in Jesus. So I don't dare to plot him anywhere. But the I personality, I don't know.
We can't diagnose Jesus. He
Oh no.
transcends personality types.
A little bit of
Actually,
both.
Actually, I can say that Jesus should be the line where everyone should be plotted. Where are you in Jesus? Above or under? You know, Normally Jesus should be the midline where everyone has to be plotted. Are you
Everybody
a
has to be
high
plotted on his graph.
Yes, are you a high Jesus or a low Jesus? So this is actually what we have to say, but we cannot plot Jesus anywhere
I
because
love that. Are you a high Jesus or a low Jesus?
yeah, actually, this is how we should see it. And in all the Bible story, we only see people who were plotted in Jesus very high or very low. So
Great
yeah,
point.
yeah, with their personality. So actually, this is how I will see it. Jesus is the line where everybody has to be plotted in.
Jesus is
So
a standard. That's a great way
exactly.
to wrap up. While personality types is important to know so that you can grow, you understand that ultimately it's Jesus that we need to follow if we're going to grow. If we're going to know
Yep.
ourselves so we can grow, we need to follow the ultimate personality.
Yep.
The ultimate leader is
Yeah.
Jesus. What a way to close. Thank you guys for joining tonight. It's 9:58. Remember to click the link. Here at Eve Speaks, we are committed to helping you to heal, aspire, and grow. And for the new year, what a great opportunity, what a better time than now to take the DISC assessment test so that you can learn your personality type to promote better communications, to strengthen, heal, and heal your relationships. And
Yep.
remember, ultimately, Jesus is the standard. That's the graph that we need to
Yeah.
plot. I think somebody has a question. Patricia says that we need to support and show respect and listen for good communication so that we can build friendly relationships with people and family and children. Thank you so much for your comment, Patricia. Really appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining. The link is right there in the chat. You can schedule your personalized consultation to take your DISC assessment test to learn your personality type. Because remember, we cannot grow by accident. It must be intentional. Have a good night and have a good